It's that time of year again. I can't believe where did this year go? 2024. I'm Norm from Tested, and over the coming days and weeks, I, along with the Tested team, our family of contributors, and Adam will also be sharing some of our favorite things of this past year. It's our annual tradition. We want to share some of our favorite tools, technology, toys that we've picked up, and hopefully give you some recommendations for things that you might want to bring into your workshop or your life. I'm going to start off with some coffee table books. I only have two this year, but they are representative of a category of books I want to recommend. The first is Tankhead by artist and designer Emerson Tung. Emerson, someone I follow on Instagram. His day job is an art director at id Software. He did the art lead on the Doom Eternal series. So been a big fan of his work. If you enjoy the look and aesthetic of like the demons and the robots in Doom, you'll see some of that shared design language in the creatures and characters he's put in this Tankhead book. It's called Tankhead because they're creatures with basically tanks as their bodies and their heads. They're mecha. In his alternate universe of this never-ending war, he's drafted up dozens of these characters that have, German tanks, US tanks, giant ships as bodies, kind of like this alternate reality twist on the kind of mecha that you might have seen in like Pacific Rim. I love this aesthetic. I love the storytelling that goes with each page and each character. It's super inspirational. And it's one of those things that as I was browsing through his social media account, I found myself liking every post. And if I'm going to like every post, I'm going to look for the book that he may have all his artwork in. And that's my recommendation. If you're following artists on social media, they might have a book that they've self-published or work with a publisher to bring to market. It's easier than ever now for an artist to take their work and sell merch directly to their fans. I want to encourage that. And that's exactly what this second book also comes from. This is Tycho Starship Yards, Volume 1, which is a collection from model maker Bill Kraus. Bill Kraus, if the name is familiar, he goes by Admiral Buck. I've interviewed him on Tested this and last year, met him at the Wonderfest model making convention last year, and he is one of my favorite model makers working today. He builds and designs his own Star Trek inspired starships. He designs them in SketchUp, fabricates them from scratch, builds up their own armatures, and creates these incredible studio scale starships. And his designs have even made their way into the Star Trek shows. He was one of the co-designers of the new USS Enterprise 1710G, which appeared in Star Trek Picard. Bill not only is an incredible designer and model maker, but he's also one of the best Starship photographers that I've seen. And his documentation of his builds, the journey of his builds, it's not easy to make something and document it super well at the same time. You get to really feel like you're at the side of his workbench watching him build these ships. And when they're finished, the photos look less like miniatures and look like real full-scale starships against a sun with the high contrast lighting. It's truly, truly beautiful work. Short of owning one of his models, this probably is the next best thing. So follow him. I'll link to his social media as well in the description for when the next time he releases Volume 2 of Tycho Starship Yards. All right, going from coffee table books to technology. My jam is, of course, mixed reality, the headsets, and it's a big year for headsets. We started off with the release of the Apple Vision Pro. Most recently, we had the release of the Meta Quest 3S, the entry level, two opposite ends of the pricing spectrum, one at $300, one at $3,500, but both have their place in elevating and in bringing more people into mixed reality. But the wearable that I found myself liking the most this year, my favorite wearable, it's the one I'm wearing right now. These are the Ray-Ban Meta glasses. I know they came out last year alongside the Quest 3, but this is the year where I wore them almost every day since the day I got it. aside from my phone, it's probably my most used piece of technology, more than my tablet, my laptop, my desktop, my game console, my handheld. The Ray-Ban Metas, from the moment I wake up, I'm putting this on and I'm making use of it because they have utility as my normal prescription glasses. And of course, they have a camera on here. I can take pictures. I can document the memories of my children. I can shoot videos now up to 3 minutes. But the feature I use the most on the Ray-Ban Metas are the speakers on the side here. They're not like bone conductive speakers. They're tiny on like over the ear speakers, but I use them to stream music, podcasts from my phone for when I walk the dog. I use them all the time, to listen to podcasts when I'm milling about the house with basketball season and the NFL season ongoing right now. I'm also putting on games that I can have, and I don't feel like I'm closed off from the world. Yes, AirPods have kind of a digital pass-through mode where you can still hear the world around you, but nothing really beats the sound of the real world. If I'm walking the dog, I don't want to feel isolated from traffic noises. If I still want to be able to hear a podcast and no one else necessarily be able to hear what I'm hearing, if I'm browsing social media, if I'm browsing Reddit and a video auto plays, I can now have that video automatically play audio as well, as opposed to having to tap the button without having to put in additional earbuds or headphones. And that's just fundamentally changed the way I interact with video that pops up in social media feeds. It's changed the way I listen to podcasts, and with the improvements in the Meta AI, it's also increasingly how I tap into some quick information like sports scores or weather, as opposed to pulling the phone out of my pocket. So I can't wait to see what they do with the next generation of these, as they continue to invest in this type of wearable. Now, I don't have the Apple Vision Pro here as one of my favorite things. I think it's still too expensive. It's a little too cumbersome in its weight to really recommend. It's really a developer device. One thing I did want to give a shout out to is the software experience, and specifically Apple Immersive Video. It's exclusive right now on Apple Vision Pro, but Apple has put a ton of money producing not only these concerts and highlight reels from sporting events like the Super Bowl or the NBA All-Star Game, but also these mini documentaries and even a short film. The mini documentaries have been my absolute favorite. There's one series called Adventure, and it's not just the subject matter where like someone doing a tightrope walk across a mountain, or these parkour artists running through Paris, but the way they've been filmed. We've done a little bit of filming, VR 180 video here at Tested and documenting builds and things at Adam's shop, but the boundary really has been pushed with the type of content that the Apple Immersive Video team has been producing, and it's really blown away all other examples of immersive video that I've seen so far. The short film Submerge, I have no idea how much they spent on it, but it really is a sight to behold, an experiment in this new way of narrative storytelling when you can be the camera and look all around you. If you have a chance to try the Apple Vision Pro, one of the first things I recommend is pulling up one of those immersive videos to check out. On the Quest ecosystem side, also want to make a recommendation and say one of my favorite things has been the software as well, and the updates to Horizon OS. I mean, Quest 3 launched last year. I thought the product was great, the performance is great, but now you have Quest 3 and Quest 3S with the same processing capabilities. There's parity on that performance, which means games like Batman Arkham Shadow and some new mixed reality games that make really good use of that color pass-through don't have to be almost held back by the performance of Quest 2 devices. And the updates to Horizon OS that maybe have been influenced by what was released on the Apple Vision Pro have really impressed me. The ability to have better multitasking, windows that you can position anywhere, a revamp in the UI with version 7.1 of Horizon OS, native apps like calendar, just minor usability improvements, pass-through improvements. It's made that Quest 3 experience almost feel like a hardware upgrade since compared to what the launch experience was like last fall. So if you're looking at the Quest 3S and you're thinking, well, it's just going to look like the Quest 2, it's not going to feel like the Quest 2. The software improvements have been really, really meaningful. So kudos to the Meta team responsible to that. Okay, moving on to some toys. I am the resident 1/6 scale enthusiast and obsessive here, and I've probably bought too many 1/6 scale figures this year, so I don't have a personal favorite, but I did want to shout out the overall improvement and elevation in quality. I have here the Peter Parker figure from the end of Spider-Man No Way Home. This is the final swing version of Peter Parker in his classic, now MCU canon red and blue suit. And the tailoring of the suit, the materials that they chose for this, the Tom Holland head sculpt is a massive improvement over previous versions of Spider-Man. I think part of that is due to good competition. You have companies like Queen Studios' InArt brand, and also like XO6 and J&D Studios out of Korea that really push the limits and push the boundaries on the detail and the features that you can get out of a 1/6 collectible. So I'm really happy to see improvements in the sculpt, embracing things like in the Hot Toys Artisan line, wool implanted hair, and like movable eyeballs become a standard on these figures and not a deluxe feature. If you compare the Peter Parker sculpts from this one from Spider-Man Homecoming and the one from Spider-Man No Way Home, one looks like Tom Holland and one looks like a Tom Holland lookalike contest winner at this point. That's how much these have improved year over year, especially with this year's releases. I'm continually impressed by how much sculptural detail and the paint detail you can get on these products that are made in, the thousands, that feel like these bespoke art figures. And to display these, I also have a recommendation for a display case. I've tried a bunch of display cases over the years, prefab ones with plexi that you put together, modifying IKEA Detolfs with lighting for display cases. But I've been looking for kind of a turnkey solution that feels living room worthy, that is easy turnkey and has the lighting features that you can't normally get yourself. And this one, I think, solves that. This is from Apex Time. It's called the Chaos Ultra. It's been hard to get in the States for a while, but some retailers have started stocking these. And I love the lighting abilities on this case. Has a glass front, plexi sides, magnetically released plexi, so really easy to get in there. They're stackable. You can daisy chain the power. They're even thoughtful features like a desiccant storage solution in the back of the case to make sure the figures are dry and don't deteriorate due to moisture. But there are so many of these different static lighting options. There are these bars of LED lights in warm and cold color on the top, as well as in the four corners. And so you can alternate between a variety of display options as well as animated lighting options to highlight, the head sculpt, to create more dramatic lighting, to accommodate any diorama options that you might want to put in here. And like I said, this one feels like it would be suitable for the living room, meaning it's not going to be asked to put back in, your home, your office. From toys, I want to talk about games, and there's only one game that I really wanted to recommend. I played a bunch this year, across different consoles and PC, but the one I kept on going back to was Balatro. Yes, I am a recovering Balatro addict. If you hadn't heard of it, it's a deck building game using your familiar standard, 52 cards, but with a bunch of different modifiers and these Joker power-ups. There is a long list of rules and complexities. I can't go into it beyond the scope of this video, but suffice to say, it is a game that doesn't take too long to master. You can play it in short bursts and half-hour bursts. You can pick it up and put it down. It works great on the Steam Deck, and it was just recently released on iOS, so you can play on your phone, your tablet, or even in the Apple Vision Pro. And it's a game that you can really sink a lot of your time into. When kids go to sleep and I just need to chill out on the couch, I'm bringing up Balatro. When I'm on a 10-hour flight, on an international flight, and I'm done watching a couple movies, it's Balatro. And It's for bang for your buck. It is absolutely worth it, but it can be a little bit addictive. So be warned. And finally, some model making tools. This one I had to recommend. It's not new. Tamiya Weathering Master Powder has been around for a long time now, but I've only started using it this year. I use this extensively in my build of the Dune Harkonnen Ornithopter in the final weathering pass, and it was so fun to use. Comes in so many different finishes and colors, from sand to snow to soot. You can get them in a variety of different palettes, but they're not expensive. They're really easy to use. The included brush is actually a really good applicator, or you can use your own kind of makeup sponge, and to put, add that last finish bit of weathering on top of your paint wash. It's where the magic of model making, I think, comes together. So get yourself some of these Tamiya Weathering Master palettes. And for model making, I have finally graduated to some proper lighting and not just using, studio lighting for model making. And I got a proper desk lamp. This comes from Redgrass. It's the R9. They launched it as a Kickstarter a couple years ago, and it's a beautifully designed, super thoughtfully designed model making desk lamp. Tons of points of articulation, has two banks of LEDs. It's one color temperature, so it's this daylight temperature, but you can change the brightness by holding the power button. My favorite thing is that it elevates super tall, so you can have it really high up, almost over 30 inches up, or you can quickly get it real low for close-up work. I've been using it not only for building, but also for photography as well, and it's really become a fixture on my workbench. It is a little pricey, and there are a lot of options out there. I've been reading some of the forums about other alternatives for lighting miniatures and lighting model making work, and I'll be exploring some comparisons in a future video. And that's actually the final announcement, is that video actually won't be on Tested. We are launching a second channel called Tested Team to show off and dive deeper into the testing and the products and the processes that the people behind Tested are interested in. So the production team here, Joey, Josh, and me, as well as a team of contributors and our support team that come in for collaborative builds, and people who you'll be seeing in the coming days share their favorite things. We wanted to create a place to dive deeper into the tools that we love using, the projects that we're working on earlier on in the process before they might make an appearance on the channel here with Adam. So if you're curious about the things that we're into and curious about what goes into making the Tested channel, please feel free to subscribe and check it out. Link is in the description below. And I want to wrap up by thanking all of you out there, whether you're just happened onto this video on YouTube, whether you're a subscriber or you support us by buying merch or back us as a Tested Premium member. It's all of your support, your eyeballs there that make Tested possible, and allow us to make these fun videos and to keep on having fun. Thank you again. Hope you enjoy the rest of our favorite things videos and have a wonderful holidays as we wrap up 2024. I'm Norm from Tested. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Thank you so much for watching, and I have a question for you. Who doesn't love stickers? Nobody doesn't love stickers, that's who. And that's why at Tested we have released this mega sticker pack full of 11 of our favorite stickers, and you can buy it right now to adorn your toolbox, your notebooks, whatever you want at tested-store.com.